Now I'm done joining the pieces together, as you can see, and I end up having 2 pieces. You can see what I have. I've joined this together as a one piece, and this also one piece. This is one of the front and one of the back panel, and also the second one of the front and one of the back panel. Now the next step is to join the both together, right side facing the right side. Okay, so but before joining the two together, I will have to stitch the pocket back down at the other edge. I stitch it down on this edge. Now I'll be stitching down on the other edge so that it will not be flipping up and down. So here is the second piece. Okay, so just to hold the pocket back down, so that is why I stitch on that side. So this is what I have on the right side. Can you see what I have? And this is what I have on the wrong side. Then on the other side too, on the other piece. Now I've stitched down the pocket bag on both pieces. Then I can proceed and join the two together, right side facing the right side. So with this, the front crotch will fall together on the same direction, and the back crotch will fall together on the same direction. Here is the front crotch. You can see I have the two falling together on the same direction. Then I have the back crotch also falling together on the same direction. When you put your pieces together and you don't have the crotches falling together on the same direction, it means the way you join each pieces is not correct. All you need to do is just rip off the seam, then join the two together all again, or you start all over from the beginning. So now I will start with the back crotch. So now I'll be stitching the two together like so, with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, all I'm stitching is from the waistline downward to the crotch point. This is where I'll be stopping. So I'll be marking the seam allowance so that you will get to understand better. So this is the crotch point. From this point, I will measure 1/2 inch forward like so. Then I'll mark the points. So which means when I start stitching, this is where I will stop. I'm not taking it together like so. It's not coming to this side. This is where I will stop. So then I'll continue marking my seam allowance, following the shape I have on the crotch. So now I'm stitching on the crotch line, starting from the waistline downward, and I will stop on the crotch point. And because this is a male native trousers, there is no opening at the front and no opening at the back. So that is why I'm closing this permanently. Okay, now I'm done stitching. This is what I have. You can see I did not stitch to this side. I stopped on the crotch point. So the next step is to open this up like so to the right side. Then I will be top stitching on the right side. So now I'll be top stitching on the seam. As you can see, I'm top stitching on the right side. So I will make sure this is very close to the seam point. Okay, so this is the seam point here. So my top stitching is very close to the seam point. And you'll get to know the reason after this step. So now I'm done top stitching, and the next step is to turn this to the wrong side. So this is what I have on the wrong side. Okay, so here is my seam allowance. You can see it's laying flat. So this is what the top stitching did. It helped the seam allowance to lay flat. Now I will be turning in the edges of the seam allowance, and I will end up having a flat felled seam like so. So I'll fold all the seam allowances inward, then I will apply an edge stitch. So I'll be stitching very close to the edge. As I'm stitching, I'll be folding in the seam allowance. So when you are doing this, make sure you take your time to do it neatly. So this is what I have on the right side after finishing the edges of the seam allowance. So the effect of this is to make the inside and the outside of the trousers looks neat. Okay, you can see what I have on the wrong side, no seam allowance, and on the right side I have something like this. Also, it will secure the seam from being ripped off because this trousers is for a male figure. So the next step is to close the crotches of the front panels as well. So this is for the back. Now this is the point I will be giving out the bonus I told you guys at the beginning of this video. Now I will be joining the front crotch together, but there's a conventional way of joining the front crotch together. This method I'll be showing you is totally different from the conventional way of joining the front crotch together. I'll be making use of the piece I cut out when I was cutting this with my pattern. You can see the curve I have around here, they are the same. So this is the point I cut this out. So I did not trash this, I kept it. So that is why I'll be using it in finishing the crotch area. In case you want to learn how to join this in a conventional way, watch my video on how to sew a male native trousers shokoto. The video has been linked up in the description box. I shot the video about 2 years ago. Okay, in this video you will learn how to attach or how to join the crotch together in a conventional way. So now I have this. This is what I cut out. I can decide to use it like so or reduce the measurement I have around here. So let me take the measurement and confirm. I have more than 3 inches, but I don't want this to exceed 3 inches. So after constructing, I'll have 2.5 inches left. Then I will trim this off. So I have this right side facing the right side. So now I'll be opening it up, then turn it wrong side facing the wrong side. And here is the front crotch. Then I'll place this piece to align with these edges. The 2 pieces together at the same time, like so. Then I will place this. So I will place this piece to align with the 2 pieces. Then I will pin the 2 together. So now I'm stitching on 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So after stitching, this is what I have. Then I will be placing notches on the seam allowance, most especially this curved part. So here I will be applying a triangular notch like so. Can you see what I have? Now I can just apply the normal notches on the remaining parts of the seam allowance. So this is what I have after trimming off the seam allowance. Now I will open this up like so. You can see automatically the front crotch has joined together. Then I will just flip this over. I will flip this over like so. And I will fold it in such a way part of this piece will fall on this side of the front panel. So that it will not be too wide on one side. So you can decide how wide you want it to be at this point as well. So I want exactly 2 inches. You can see what I have at the back here. If you don't want it to be 2 inches, you want it lesser, you adjust it. Okay, if you want it to be more than 2 inches, you open it up completely, then you will have like 2.5 inches. So I'm okay with 2 inches, so I'll just fold it like so. So now I have my cuff pinned down, as you can see. So now I'll be applying a top stitch from this edge up to the upper part. Make sure you make this part neat as much as possible, because this is showing on the right side of the trousers. And when you are stitching, make sure you do not stitch alongside with the back panel. So we are stitching only the front panels. So this is what I have after top stitching. Then I'll be closing the other side of the flap as well. So now I'll be stitching the flap on the other side, and I will stop on the 7 inches point. I measure 7 inches from the edge of the flap, which is here downward, and here is the 7 inches point. I will stop stitching on this point. Make sure you are not stitching the back panels together. So guys, this is what I have after finishing the edges of the flap. You can see it's looking beautiful and it's looking neat. Okay, so the next step is to finish this side, these edges. So in this case, I will be turning this right side facing the right side. So that is the edges I have left on the front crotch. Can you see what I have? Then from these edges, I will measure 1 inch downward. One inch. Then from this 1 inch point, I will measure another 1 inch, which is here. Okay, so this is what I will be doing. I will stitch from the waistline and stop on this 1-inch point. So now I've stitched and stopped on the 1-inch point. So the next step is to place notches on that point. That is a 1-inch point. I will open this and stop on that point. Okay, so this is the space the elastic rope and the fabric rope will be passing through. Then I'll open this up like so. You can see I have 2 pieces, then I'm separating the 2. I'll open it up like so. I will fold in the edges, then apply an hair stitch on this side, then on this side as well. Okay, but for this I will be holding the 2 together, folding the seam allowance, then apply an head stitch. For this part the 2 are going together, but for this part each of the pieces are going separately, this on the other side and this on this side. So guys, this is what I have after stitching. You can see the opening I have around here. So this is where the elastic and the fabric ropes will be passing through. So the next step is to join the legs of the trousers. So far so good. You can see the shape we are having now. You can see the shape has started coming out well already. So I'll be turning this to the wrong side. Like so. Then firstly, I will make the crotch points to meet each other. Then I'll be pinning the 2 together first. Okay, then after that, I will be pinning the remaining parts of the pieces together. So with this, I have one of the front and one of the back. So this is one leg, this is for one leg, and this will be for the other leg. So this is combination of the front panel and the back panel. I will pin on the notch points. I will pin this point together as well. There's a notch on that point as well. So you can see your notches is very important. You don't joke with it. So after pinning on the notched points, then I'll pin the remaining part of the trousers. So after which I'll be stitching with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I'm done pinning the edges of the trousers together from one edge to the other edge. This is one leg. From this side I pin together to the crotch point, and I crossed it over to the other side of the leg at this point. Then I marked my seam allowance of 1/2 inch all round, but at the center, which is the crotch point, I measured 0.75 inch, that is 1/4 inch. Instead of 1/2 inch, I measured 1/4 inch, so that I will have that curvy effect around the crotch point in order to protect this area from being ripped off. So now I'll be stitching all through. Now I'm stitching towards the center of the trousers, which is the crotch point. So make sure you lock your stitches at the center, which is the crotch point. You can go like 2 to 3 times before you continue stitching. So this will protect the crotch area. Now I'm almost done. You can see I'm stitching towards the edge of the hemline. So guys, this is what I have. So far so good. You can see this is the center of the trousers, and I'll be turning this to the right side. So the only thing left is to finish the waistline and the opening of the trousers, that is the hemline. You can see how beautiful it looks. Okay, so now I will be finishing the waistline so that we can insert our rope and also the elastic rope. So here I'll be folding in my 2 inches. So I'll be folding on 2 inches. I will confirm if this is 2 inches. Okay, I will adjust this, then pin it all around. So I'll be pinning on the 2 inches point. So now I've measured 2 inches inward, as you can see, all around the waistline, and I folded it and pinned the edges all around. So the next step is to finish the edges of the waistline. Okay, if you are yet to watch the drafting part of this tutorial, kindly find the link in the description box below so that you will not get lost at any point of this tutorial. Also, you need to learn how to take measurements for a male native trousers. Taking measurement for a male native trousers is quite different from taking measurement for corporate trousers. So that is why it is necessary for you to learn how to take measurement for a male native trousers. I have a well-detailed tutorial on how to take measurement for a male native trousers, where you will learn how to take the waist measurements, the hip measurements, the crotch depth, the crotch circumference, the tricks and tips that goes into taking the knee circumference and the ankle circumference measurements. All are well explained in this video on how to take measurement for a male native trousers. The video has been linked up in the description area as well. Okay, so now the next step is to finish the edges of the waistline. You can see my folding goes into the wrong side of the trousers. This is the wrong side and this is what I have on the right side. So now I will be folding the edges inward with 1/2 of an inch seam allowance. You can see the 1/2 of an inch I marked with my white chalk. So I'll be folding on that point inward, like so. Then I'll apply an edge stitch. Edge stitch means stitching very close to the edges. So I'll be stitching very close to the edges all around, and I'll be folding in 1/2 of an inch like so, all around the waistline. So with this I will have a very neat waistline. Here is a pocket bag inside the trousers. I will make sure the pocket bag is laying flat inside. You can see what I have on the edges of the pocket bag because I raised this up above the pocket opening point, so this will be able to cover up the edges of the pocket bag. Even after folding in my 1/2 of an inch, it will still cover up. You can see the hole I have here. This is the hole I created for the elastic and the fabric rope to pass through in. So this will fall on the wrong side of the trousers. So while you are stitching, make sure everything is intact. The pocket bag should not squeeze inside the trousers. Now I'm about getting to the end point of the edge stitching, and I discover I have something like excess around here. In case you find yourself in this type of situation, no cause for alarm. All you need to do is just fold like so, folding your hem allowance, that is 1/2 of an inch on the edges. Then you hold this, make sure it's laying flat. Then the excess you have there, you just split this. This is one of normal thing that usually happens. Okay, just like as if you want to pleat, just fold it like this, then you continue stitching. So after finishing the waistline, this is what I have. You can see how neat it looks. This is the back and this is the front. So can you see what I have? And here is the opening for the rope and the elastic rope around here. Okay, so the next step is to finish the hemline of the trousers. So that is the trouser opening around here. When I was cutting this, I added 2.5 inches of hem allowance. So I'll be marking my 2.5 inches, then fold it inward, and also mark half of an inch on the edges to finish the edges as well. So here is my 2.5 inches. Then I will fold this inward. Okay, so after folding it inward, I will turn it to the wrong side, then finish it on the edges. Just the same method I applied when I was finishing the waistline. I will mark half of an inch inward, then fold it and apply an head stitch. Okay, don't forget to iron your trousers step by step as you are constructing it. I did not iron this because of the material I'm using. This is 100% cotton fabric. Okay, but if you are making use of a silk fabric like senator material, you need to be ironing step by step so that it will be easier for you when you are hemming, when you are folding. Okay, any part of the trousers that you feel like is not straight or it is not smooth enough, make sure you take it to the ironing board and give it a good press before you proceed. So when you are constructing a male outfit, ironing should be part of you. Okay, so now I have my 2.5 inches folded inwards. Then I will bring this to the wrong side. So you can see what I have. Then I will confirm my measurement again. Then I will secure the edges with pin. I've pinned this all around. Can you see what I have? Then on the edges, I marked half of an inch upward, which I will be folding inward like so, and I will apply an edge stitch like so at this side and the other side. You can see at this other side as well, I open up the same allowance. Okay, so there is a starting point, so this is where I'll be stopping, and I will lock my stitches. When you are doing this, make sure you do it neatly because the seam is showing on the right side of the trousers. Now I've hemmed the two hem line of the trousers. As you can see, this is the first one, this is the right side, and this is the inside, which is the wrong side. You can see what I have. The two sides are looking neat, and this side as well. So now the next step is to construct the fabric rope. So this is what I cut out for the fabric rope. So the width is 2 inches and the length is 62 inches. Okay, then I ironed this. At the upper part, I ironed in half of an inch like so. Then by the side, I ironed half of an inch inward. On the other side as well, I ironed half of an inch inward. Then I folded the two on each other like so, and I end up having half of an inch for the width of the rope. Now I will be applying an edge stitch on both sides of the rope. on this side and on this side. When you are folding the edges, make sure you fold the vertical side first. This is the vertical and this is the horizontal fold. So I folded this first and the other side as well before folding this on it like so. Then I'll fold the second time. So guys, I'm done taping the rope. You can see what I have, how neat and beautiful it looks. You can see what I have on both edges. Okay, so the next step is to insert the elastic rope and the fabric rope, which is the last step in making a native trousers. Here is the elastic rope I'm using. It is 1 inch wide. We have different wideness. We have different wideness for elastic rope, but because what I have on the waistline for the band is 1.5 inches, so I'll be making use of 1 inch, which is okay. Then for the length of the rope, I use the waist circumference measurements I'm working with 32 inches of waist circumference, and I subtracted about 6 inches away from that. Okay, so the waist circumference measurements you are working with, subtract about 5 to 6 inches away from it. So that is what you'll be using in cutting out the elastic rope. Now I will be inserting the elastic rope and I'll be making use of a safety pin. This will make it much more easier. Okay, then I'll pin this. I'm inserting the safety pin inside the elastic rope and I will close it like so. Then I'll go to the opening side I have on the waistline. I will insert the safety pin first, and because the elastic rope has been pinned together with the safety pin, they will both go inside together. Then I'll be moving this forward. So with this, the elastic rope will be coming inside. So now I'm on the other side of the opening. Then I will bring out the safety pin and I will spread this so that part of the elastic rope can come inside. Then I will bring it out like so. Can you see what I have? And I will drag this outward. Then I will remove the safety pin. Now I have to close the edges together. Okay, and because this is an elastic, I have a zigzag stitches function on my sewing machine, so I'll be making use of the zigzag stitches. If you don't have a zigzag stitches, make use of the straight sewing, but make sure you run the stitches up and down like 4 to 5 times. So this is what I have after stitching. Okay, so the next step is to just push this inward completely. I will put the elastic rope inward completely into the waistband. And our trouser is ready. Can you see what I have? So now in supporting the waist, I will be inserting the fabric rope. Okay, why do I need this rope? The rope is what will hold the waistband tight on the wearer. In case you put an heavy object inside the pocket, the weight of the object will not be able to pull off the trousers after putting it on. So this is what the rope will do. The rope will support the elastic to make the trousers stay firm on the waistline. Also, as time goes on, this elastic can worn out. After the elastic has been worn out, the rope will be there to support the waistline. So the function of the rope is the function of hook and eye on corporate trousers, hook and eye or button. So you can see I'm doing the same process. I pin the fabric rope together with the safety pin, and I'll be inserting it through this hole. Okay, then I will pull it outward. I will spread the gathering. So guys, that will be all on how to sew a male native trousers with elastic rope and fabric rope. If you find this video helpful in one way or the other, kindly give it a thumbs up so that YouTube algorithm can show it to more people who are in need of it. Till we meet next time, when I will be dropping another valuable content from my wealth of knowledge. Always do remember, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs.